Hello, this is Melody LeBaron, and I'm thrilled to welcome each of you to my Clean Sweep training. I'm so happy to share with you what I've learned about transforming the spaces we live and work in and setting them up to be our success partners. We're going to begin this training by calling in sacred space. So please allow yourself to relax, to take some deep breaths, and come fully present. Imagine yourself with your feet planted firmly on the soil of the land you live on. Imagine the land you live on being holy ground for you. Allow yourself to feel your gratitude for your land and for Mother Earth, and imagine yourself receiving a powerful, steady stream of life force energy flowing up from Mother Earth and from the land you live on. This yin Mother Earth power flows all the way from your feet to your crown, filling your whole body, every organ and system, with its divine feminine, receptive energy. Now imagine a funnel of light and love and power flowing down from the heavens, filling your body from the top down. Imagine that this yang, divine masculine life force fills every organ and system, filling up your whole body all the way down to the tips of your toes. Imagine that as these two sacred energies meet inside your body, they begin to merge and dance together, filling your body with the healing rhythmic resonance of unconditional love. Call in your spiritual support team, any guides and angels and mentors and loved ones and teachers that you are working with. Call in the divine and ask for any help that you will need as you implement what you will learn in this training. And allow yourself to feel that support from both the seen and the unseen realms. Allow yourself to feel and to know that you are more loved than you could possibly comprehend, that you are worthy of a home and workspace that fully supports you and aligns with your life purpose. And now, imagine that you stand in a circle with the hundreds of men and women all over the world who have come together energetically to clean sweep their own homes, their own workspaces, their own lives. And now, picture in your mind what your home looks and functions and feels like right now. And now press the fast forward button in your mind and imagine what you long for your home to look like, to function and feel like after your clean sweep, after you've released the clutter and organized each room. Allow that image of your lovely, peaceful, organized home and workspace to drop down from your mind into your heart. Imbue that image with your love, with your gratitude for the transformation, and with your gratitude for how transforming the space that you live and work in will transform you. And now imagine that each of us standing in this clean sweep circle is visualizing our own transformations, hundreds of men and women all over the planet, with the intention to create more joy, order, and peace on earth, starting in our own homes, our own workspaces. Now open your heart center and flow your vision of your peaceful, beautiful, organized home into your home. And call love from the earth and the heavens and from your support team into your home and into your workspace. Now take some deep breaths And I thank you for saying yes to yourself by receiving this training. So this training, this clean sweep training, is for you if you've ever experienced frustration because of the visible or hidden clutter in your home. This training is for you if you feel stuck in your life and you would prefer being able to achieve your goals more quickly with greater ease. I'm calling this a clean sweep because I love that term. It reminds me of what our great-grandmothers used to do twice a year, spring and fall cleanings, in which they cleaned the house and everything in it. The term a clean sweep actually originated in England during the 17th century when the government encouraged citizens to have their chimneys cleaned on January 1st each year to prevent fires. The term was later used by naval officers. A clean sweep for them meant they had swept the enemy from the seas. Now, that term also refers to what many of you think you would love, to have a team of organizers sweep through your home and take all the clutter out and organize everything for you. Unfortunately, many of those people are not able to maintain the order. I've actually worked with many clients who years earlier, before working with me, had had a similar experience. A team of organizers come through and organize, but because those clients didn't learn the things I'm going to share with you, the clutter crept back. If you want your home to be a place of peace and order, the change actually needs to start in your consciousness. And there are no one-size-fits-all systems in this business. If the organizing systems aren't created in collaboration with you, they very likely won't work for you. So for our purposes in this training, a clean sweep will refer to you sorting through the items in your home and releasing all the clutter and reorganizing the rest in a way that rejuvenates you and your life. So let's define clutter. For me, clutter is anything that is no longer used, loved, needed, and valued. For me, clutter also includes unrepaired items that are not able to serve their purpose and too many items in too small a space. The word clutter actually comes from the Old English word cloiter, which means to coagulate, which is exactly what happens to the chi, or the life force, in rooms that are filled with clutter. Rooms stuffed full of old items that are no longer being used or valued start to feel clogged, stagnant, stuck. And then our physical body begins to correspond with the body of our home. We begin to feel stuck, blocked, stagnant. When our homes and workspaces are so full that new life force can't flow in, new opportunities and income and joys just pass us by, our home and life is too full of the old to welcome the new. So, let's be really honest with each other, just because we can. How many of us have ever felt at the effect of clutter in any of these ways? So, raise your hand if you feel like you've ever been overwhelmed or tired just walking in the door. Exhausted at the thought of all the stuff that has to be sorted. Frustrated because you're searching for something you can't easily find. Inundated with papers everywhere. Angry at yourself for not making more progress on your goals. Easily distracted from the process of decluttering. You start a project, but a half hour later, you find yourself staring into the open refrigerator or reading an article you came across. Great. If you raised your hand for any of those, you're in great company. Lots of my happy, organized clients were once in your shoes. So, congratulations. You are listening because you've made clearing your clutter a priority, which actually puts you on the path to a decluttered, organized home and workspace and a rejuvenated life. I am thrilled to share with you as much as I can in this training and point you in the direction of resources that will support you. Let me start by sharing with you how I came to be a professional organizer, space clearing practitioner, and feng shui consultant. I was born the oldest of 7 children in a family that moved a lot. I enjoyed an instinctive awareness of the land we lived on and a sensitivity to the homes we lived in. My job in the family was helping my mom and siblings create order. I loved a good mess, tidying it up, finding ways to group like items together and organize them was as much fun for me as putting together a puzzle. At 12, when I was old enough to babysit and get paid for my work, after I put the kids in bed, I'd alphabetize the spices and canned goods in the pantry. The moms loved it, and I was booked months in advance. I actually began working as an organizer when I was 15, helping my friends and their parents declutter and get organized. But after I married and had 4 babies, all while moving 4 times in 6 years, our home was overrun with clutter. My then husband was very ill and spent months in the hospital. I went every day to care for him. Our home office was impassable with piles everywhere. It got to the point where I would just open the door and throw items in. My life felt like a high-speed chase scene through an obstacle course. I was running through the mess after my toddlers with the baby on my hip. I hated the way our home felt and the way I felt in it. Instead of being the connected, caring mother I wanted to be, I was a stressed, always late, often frustrated, horror show version of myself. And then, at a parenting workshop, I found a brochure about organizing. My first reaction was, oh, I don't need that. But a humbler voice inside myself said, you do need this. Turns out that brochure was about how to create systems. Here's a lovely acronym for systems. Save yourself some time, energy, money. And with all I had going on in my life, I sure needed to save my time, energy, and money. Maybe you feel that way too. Well, when I started implementing those ideas on systems during the 30 to 45 minutes a day when all my kids were napping, in 6 months, my entire home was in order, and I was a happier mom, and we've stayed that way through the ups and downs of life ever since. After training as a professional organizer, I found I enjoyed helping my friends create what I call sustainable systems, systems that are easy to maintain, systems that grow and evolve as your life does. 20 years ago now, during a 9-month Kundalini yoga teacher training, my natural sensitivity to environments became stronger, more clear. I started seeing, smelling, and sensing disturbances in my clients' homes that I could not haul out to the dumpster. In the year 2000, I was the first professional organizer in the United States to receive space and personal clearing training with the Australian author and teacher Eric Dowsett. Those courses led me to my training in feng shui and home staging. Since then, I've worked with clients all over the world and seen firsthand the power and the joy that flows into our homes and hearts, offices, incomes, and lives when we release the old and welcome the new. So let's start today with my 5 tips on how to get the most out of this free clean sweep training. Tip number 1, release all judgment. I know that self-judgment slows down your progress and gets you stuck and takes you out of the game. You all do know that, right? But most of us do it anyway, without even catching ourselves. So if you're in a location where you can easily do this, I'd like you to stand up and raise your right arm to the square and repeat after me. I promise to release all my judgment about my clutter. I promise to love myself and my space no matter how we feel or function. I promise to stay in the game of releasing clutter and organizing my space. Great. Tip number 2 is to refrain from taking yourself out of the game by telling yourself, oh, I know this already. I've heard this before. Allow yourself to be as humble and open as I was when I picked up that brochure. Tip number 3, refrain from using the I just don't have time excuse. We can all fit 15 minutes 3 times a week, or an hour a week, or 3 hours a month into our schedule. Be willing to actually to schedule the time to do your clean sweep. And tip number 4, be willing to get crystal clear on the goal of how you want your home to function and feel. The How Clutter Affects Your Home and Life assessment that you downloaded will help you with this. And tip number 5, be willing to take quick, decisive action towards your goal. Each item of clutter in your home or workspace represents a decision deferred. Be willing to make decisions about those items quickly and decisively. Okay, my goal today is to help you begin partnering with your home and workspace in ways that support and sustain your best life. Here's an overview of my 5 secrets to partner your home and life purpose by doing a clean sweep to release the old and bring forth the new in the life you long for. My first secret is a paradigm shift that will completely change the way you experience your home. This is the mindset that my clients have used to release decades of clutter and create sustainable systems that work. In the process, most of them have also improved their health, manifested job offers or salary increases, or created loving relationships. Do any of these sound like your goals? Secret number 2 is to up-level your relationship with your home. And since you just took that vow of releasing judgment and you're letting go of any judgment you had about your home, I also want to share just a bit more about how to up-level the way you function and feel in your home. Secret number 3 is to start where you are and keep your attention on where you want to go. As I said earlier, we have to create this change in our consciousness first. Going on a tour of your home with new eyes as you complete the How Clutter Affects Your Home and Life assessment is the first step in this visioning process. Before we can get to where we want to go, we have to know where we are starting from, and we have to start where we are. Secret number 4 is to determine if professional help would save you time and money. If you do decide to get support, I'll share a way you can get support for your specific needs. And secret number 5 is to discover your own unique retrieval strategy and how to create sustainable systems with it. So let's dive right in. I'm going to just take a drink. Secret number 1. This is that mindset piece. The spaces that we live and work in are alive. Now, most clients are surprised when I tell them that their home is alive. That idea feels weird to most Westerners, but to those from Eastern cultures and to Native peoples all over the world, that belief supports an awareness that all of nature is alive and intelligent and wants to partner with us. You see, other cultures have been trained from birth to recognize what our cutting edge scientists are just now discovering. Space is alive, and space is intelligent. And because of these beliefs, these other cultures are able to see and experience the spaces between items in a way that we Westerners haven't been able to. Let's do an experiment that will demonstrate this. Hold your hand out at arm's length with your fingers outstretched. Look at your hand and count how many items you see. Most Westerners will answer that they see five fingers, or one hand. But Easterners and indigenous peoples see 9 items: the thumb and fingers and the spaces between them, because they have been trained from birth not just to see items, but to actually experience and see and feel the space between the items. And how we were taught to see the spaces we live and work in is not the only cultural difference. The language we use to describe our relationship to the planet, to the land we live on, makes a tremendous impact on how we experience it. Eastern and Native peoples use partnering language to describe the earth, the land, and their interior space. But Western cultures use dominator language to express relationship with space and nature. We have a one-up, one-down relationship. We assume that as intelligent humans, our role is to dominate, to be stewards over the land. Consider how that paradigm will produce a different result than the following First Peoples beliefs. The land we live on and the spaces we live and work in are alive and intelligent. The elements that make up our bodies also make up the bodies of our homes. There is intelligence singing through everything created, whether natural or man-made. Every form of life has a gift to give. Everything created, even those things created by humans, wants to fulfill the measure of its creation. Native peoples believe that each of us have a power place in nature, a place where we feel safe, balanced, expansive, and connected to all that is. It could be a forest, a meadow, the ocean, the mountains. My family is from Alberta, Canada, and I spent my summers playing in the Canadian Rockies. My power place is the mountains. For just a moment, imagine being in your favorite place in nature. Picture the aliveness and the beauty surrounding you. Hear the song of the birds, or the splash of the water, or the rustle of the leaves in the wind. Feel the solidness of the land beneath you. Now, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that nature is alive and intelligent? Most of us do. Yet somehow, to the Western mind, if we enclose nature with a roof and exterior walls, and we call it a home, that space inside becomes dead to us. When we move into a new home, we paint, we redo the floors, we place our furniture and our art, and it becomes a thing, a possession. We don't think of it as alive, which means we are ignoring our home's capacity to partner with us. Your home wants to fulfill the measure of its creation. It's actually offering you more than shelter. It wants to support you to live your best life. What if you knew that your home could be one of your power places, a place in which you feel alive, joyous, expansive, connected to all that is, would that change things for you? You may own the land you live on and the home you live in, but for a moment, I'm going to ask you to stretch beyond the quote, I own belief and try on some partnering beliefs. Say the following out loud with me and really feel what happens inside of yourself as you try these beliefs on. I partner with my home. I partner with the land I live on. By treating my home as intelligent, I improve my experience with it. Here's a tip. If these ideas are outside your current paradigm, please call them weird, even as you continue to try them on. Okay, so we're going to take a deep breath. And now we're going to move into secret number 2, which is that you are in a relationship with your home. We each have a relationship with the space we live and work in, and that relationship is either raising our mood and energy level or lowering it. Scientists have long known that our environment shapes our experience. Have you ever heard of Rat Park? In the early 80s, scientists studying addiction isolated rats in small metal cages and gave them a choice between water and water laced with heroin. The rats all chose to be drugged into a comatose state. But psychologist Bruce Alexander did a study in which one group of rats was locked in the small cages while the other group lived and played together in a rat park, a huge rodent playhouse with toys and cedar shavings and freedom to romp and mate and play. Both groups were given a choice of water or sugar water laced with morphine. Not surprisingly, the rat park rodents were able to just say no to drugs, while their cousins in the isolation cages doped up. Interestingly, when the addicted rats were relocated to Rat Park, they kicked the habit, unless they were returned to their old isolating environment. It makes you wonder, who could you be if your environment was set up to serve your every need and to support your goals? If those rats could have rated their experience of their laboratory environment on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm guessing those in the cages would numbly have rated their home a 1, and rat park rodents would have rated their home closer to a 10. So let me ask you, what score, on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being not good and 10 being great, would you give your home? Make a note of that number, because in a moment, I am going to give you a taste of the quickest and easiest clearing technique that will help you raise that score before you even start to clear the clutter. But first, I want you to meet Meg. Meg is a client who has agreed to allow me to share her story with you in hopes that it will help any of you who may be upset or ashamed about the current condition of your home. Meg's story illustrates how affected we are by our environment, how easy it is to feel stuck and depressed when our home is clogged with clutter, and the fastest way to change that. Meg and her husband had good jobs and a lovely 2-story colonial in the suburbs. A gifted fiber artist and clothing designer, Meg rented a workspace with a classroom. Her classes were popular and brought in extra income. And then, over the course of just 3 years, the economy tanked. This was during the last recession. They both lost their jobs. Her dad became ill and died, leaving Meg to move her mother into an Alzheimer's home and handle the estate. Meg shut down her business to care for her parents, moving the inventory into her guest rooms. Furniture and boxes from her parents' home crowded into the rooms downstairs. Like many clients, Meg was embarrassed to invite anyone over. During the time of her parents' need, she had shown up, handled details, taken care of everything. But when she opened the door to me for her space clearing, she was drained, depressed, and ashamed. I could feel her isolation, depression, overwhelm, and shame as I stepped into the front hallway, which was crowded with boxes. I held quiet, sacred space for Meg as we sat together and she shared her story. She was shocked at my first recommendation. Meg, the first thing we need to clear is your resistance to the clutter. What? She asked. If I clear my resistance, won't the clutter just take over? No, the clutter won't take over if you release your resistance to it. It will still be here, waiting for you to attend to it. But the clutter itself is not the only thing creating the stagnant energy. Part of what is holding the stagnant energy in place is your resistance to the clutter, your judgment, your shame. Every time you walk into the cluttered rooms, it's like you hit a wall of dense energy. And some of that density is caused by your negative emotions. How can I release my negative emotions, she asked, when I feel so ashamed of the way my home looks and feels? Here's what I shared with Meg. The antidote for shame is to sanctify. What if you believed that everything that is so right now in your home, in your workspace, is perfect, given the circumstances that have preceded this moment? What if you granted yourself amnesty, forgiveness for having an imperfect home? What if you told yourself that you did the best you could? What if you felt compassion for yourself instead of judgment? Meg actually teared up as her heart opened and the negative emotions began to flow out of her and integrate, dissolving into life force. And just as gently as last year's leaves become the nutrients for next year's growth, Meg's judgment and shame transformed into wisdom, insight, maturity, and compassion. That was many years ago, and Meg and her husband have since transformed their home and their lives. Not all of us go through as many losses so close together as Meg did, but we all will experience times of loss and change when our old life seems to come apart. One of my favorite quotes is, "What is must come apart before what is to be can come together." Those coming apart times can feel uncomfortable and disorienting, like a loss of an old identity. It's easy to fall into the experience of resisting the discomfort and judging. But refraining from resistance will allow you to actually feel and then integrate the discomfort. And releasing judgment can allow the older version of you to gently integrate and die so the new you can be born. During the last recession, a distraught wife called me. She and her husband had both been out of work for months. They were living in his parents' partly remodeled garage. It was cluttered, cold, dark, and they were both in a state of fear, anxiety, and frustration. I shared with them that they were in a coming apart time. And we did a space clearing to release the fear and to set a higher resonance in their little home. I had them start the decluttering and organizing process in their closet, because in feng shui, that was their prosperity area. We created a little feng shui manifestation altar in that closet that held their intentions. And just 5 days after our work together, he had a job offer at a wonderful salary. A month later, she was working too, and they were renting a lovely home they both loved. You know, during the 2008 and 9 recession, Atlanta and Orlando, cities where I had many clients, were two of the cities hardest hit. So many of my clients were going through challenging transitions. Their jobs and lives were not what they preferred. But when we worked together and they began to transform their environment, to treat it as if it was alive, as if it was a partner, their circumstances transformed as well. Out of my experience facilitating those transformations, I created my Mess to Success home study program. In that first in the first session, I take participants through the clearing process that allows you to release any judgment you have on your home and yourself. The first part of the clearing process is to up-level the story that you are telling yourself about your home, which is the first step in up-leveling your relationship with your home. So let's take a deep breath. And I want you to just ponder what you're telling yourself about your relationship with your home. Secret number 3, start where you are, but know where you want to go. In order to create a new reality in the space you live and work in, you must first create it in your consciousness. There's a 2-step process that starts with taking stock of exactly where you are right now, where you're starting from. So the assessment that you downloaded with this clean sweep training, how clutter affects your home and life, I'm going to recommend that you print it out or that you walk through your home with it and you make notes. You can talk into your phone, or you can make notes on a clipboard, but go into each room. Notice where is the clutter, where are the disorganized areas. See them as opportunities rather than obstacles, because they are. And it's in the process of transforming those areas that the inner alchemical magic happens that will transform you into your best self, into someone who can create and maintain order. Step 2, after you've assessed clearly where you are right now, is to imagine where you want to be. Who are you in your best possible version of the future? How are you giving your gifts into the world? How are you serving others? Who are you with? What are you enjoying? You have to have a vision for who you want to be before you can actually create a home that supports the best possible future version of yourself. So imagine that your home and workspace is the set of a movie, the movie of your life. You're the star. You're also the writer and director. Now, let's say that you are trying to create a new version of your life. You're done with the old movie, and you've been setting goals and writing the script for a new one, but your movie set is full of clutter left over from your last movie. And you're not going to get the new show created. The set simply cannot support the new role. We can't recreate our lives if every square inch of our home and workspace is filled with props for an old identity, which is why your clean sweep, releasing everything from the past that doesn't support your future, is so vital. Your clean sweep can start in any area of your home. There are 3 factors I recommend you consider as you decide where to start your clean sweep. When I work with a client privately, usually via Zoom or FaceTime, we do a professional organizing consult to create a customized organizing plan. I am looking and listening for 3 things to determine what rooms the clean sweep process will begin. Number 1, Are there any clutter safety hazards? Number 2, in which rooms does the clutter have the strongest negative effect on the client? And number 3, is the client feeling overwhelmed and in need of immediate success? So we'll start with number 1, safety first. If there is an area of your home that is a safety hazard, please start there first. My dear friend broke her wrist because she tripped on the piles on her closet floor. You know, all those years ago when I was a young mother and had that big mess in my home office, that's where I had to start because those piles posed a safety hazard. So if there's an area of your home in which items piled on the floor pose a risk, please start with that area. Okay, second, if there are no safety hazards, then what we're going to do is have you ask yourself, in which areas of the home does the clutter bother me the most? It may be that you'll want to start your clean sweep in the master bedroom and then the closet and bathroom so you can quickly create the feeling of sanctuary in the room where you spend so much time resting. Or it may be that the clutter in your home office or the kitchen is draining your energy the most. Make a list of the most cluttered rooms prioritized by how much they adversely affect your mood, energy level, and ability to function and feel your best. You might also want to check the How Clutter Affects Your Home and Life assessment to see what staging areas of your life are affected by the clutter in the different rooms of your home. If you happen to know that one of your cluttered areas is in the relationship area of the Feng Shui Bagua, and you would like to create a new love relationship or a more loving relationship with your partner, you might want to start there. If you have a lot of clutter in the center of your home and you've been experiencing health challenges, you might want to start there. Many of you don't have any visible clutter. Your clutter is hidden behind closet doors or in cupboards or drawers or file cabinets. So you may want to start with the area that is most draining to you, but please check the Feng Shui Bagua on the last page of the assessment just to see how that hidden clutter is affecting your health, relationships, career, and finances. So the third thing that I look at and listen for in a private professional organizing consultation is how overwhelmed my client is by the clutter. If you right now feel inundated and exhausted by the clutter in your home, then I'm going to recommend that you start your clean sweep in an area where you can experience immediate success. Pick a small area that you can complete within 30 to 60 minutes. Your medicine cabinet, your spice cabinet or drawer, your sock drawer, one shelf in the laundry room. And then after several small projects are complete and you feel that sense of pride and accomplishment, you might want to tackle a larger area that feels doable in a weekend. So now we come to a really important component of the clean sweep. Your clean sweep will never happen if you don't get it scheduled. So please, right now, as or after you listen to this training, get out your calendar and ask yourself what days and times during the week you can commit to transforming yourself, your home, your workspace, and then put clean sweep on the calendar in those times as a repeating event. It may work best for you to clean sweep 3 hours every Tuesday evening or the first and third Saturdays until your project is complete. So I've got some tips for actually doing your clean sweep. It's not actually possible in this short training for me to share all of my strategies to make your clean sweep easy and fun, but let me share a few. Show up for your clean sweep process the same way that you would for a friend or a client that you absolutely love. Know that your efforts will transform not just your home, but your life. Eat before you start and bring a bottle of water to sip as you work. Dress in comfortable, attractive clothing. Mist or smudge the room that you will be working in before you start. Pray or call in sacred space as you begin in a way that works for you. One question I get from almost all my new clients is, how many bins or how many boxes should I buy before I start my clean sweep? And my answer is always the same, none. You don't buy bins or baskets or boxes until you have done your clean sweep. Those bins or baskets or boxes are to organize the things that remain after you have decluttered. And you won't know how many you need until you see what you have left. As you do your clean sweep, keep your vision of what you choose to create in your life and in your home in mind. If you're not sure what to keep and what to donate, recycle, or toss, ask yourself, do these items, these furnishings, these books, these clothes, these papers, do these items support my future self? Does my future self really need to keep this? Will this weigh me down and make me feel burdened? Or will this item set me free? Before working with me, many clients and students report that 80% or more of the items in their home anchor their attention in the past, dragging their energy down. Only 20% of their possessions direct their attention to the future. Well, those numbers reverse when our work is complete. Like my clients and students, your goal is to have the 80-20 rule working in your favor. When you are done with your clean sweep, I hope that 80% of the items in your home will activate your best possible future self, while 20% of the items honor and memorialize your past. Here's what I know. As you continue to treat your home as if it wants to partner with you, as you release judgment and shame, and as you align with your inner vision of your best possible future version of your life, it will be easier and easier for you to release the clutter and organize your space. Okay, let's take a deep breath and then we'll move to secret number 4. Determine if professional help will save you time and money. How do you know if professional help will save you time and money? Well, when I work with clients who own their own business, I always use the analogy that it's our time, our money, our energy, and our attention that are the 4 wheels that move the vehicle of the business forward. It's the same thing with the business of our life. Our time, our money, our energy, and our attention are the wheels that we use to move the vehicle of our lives forward. The thing about clutter is that it doesn't just clog your space. Clutter binds your attention and your energy, which affects your health. Eventually, clutter binds your time and money, and then you don't have enough attention and energy to take care of daily tasks, much less to clear your clutter. You don't have the time or the money to handle your life, much less to clear the clutter. So how do you turn it around? Well, when something is wrong with your car or your body, unless you're a mechanic or a doctor, you probably don't try to fix it yourself. You hire a professional you trust. Susan, a therapist, began coming to me for personal clearing and coaching sessions every few months, during which she often complained about her cluttered home and her lack of clients. After her 3rd session, I shared the details of the private program I have for clients with clutter. It includes a space clearing to release all disturbances and stagnant energies, and a professional organizing consult where we develop a plan to get the space organized. Susan decided to invest in herself, and in that first week, after our space clearing in the home, before she'd even begun to declutter, she experienced a quadruple increase in paying clients. Well, how do you know if you need professional help? You need professional help if your wheels are coming loose, if you don't feel like you have control of your time, your money, your attention, or your energy. If you are at risk of any or all of these wheels wobbling, you are unable to steer your life in the direction you prefer. That's when you call in an expert who can help you get your time, money, attention, and energy aligned with your goals. Decades ago, I used to teach a series of decluttering and organizing classes every spring and fall at the local YMCA. And year after year, some of the same people were showing up. I realized I had a high rate of recidivism, that just teaching people the how-tos of organizing wasn't enough. And then I went through some challenging yet alchemical transformations in my own life, after which I received training in how to facilitate successful transformation. I began applying those transformational concepts to my work. So in 2008, when so many of my clients and friends were feeling at the effect of the economic downturn, I created a Mess to Success home study program in which I shared more than the basic how-tos of decluttering. In this course, I've distilled the basic foundation of transforming your space, not just decluttering and organizing it, but transforming the spaces you live and work in into your success partners. As I crafted the program, I included the 4 components necessary to create any lasting change. To create any change in any area of our life requires that we let go of our old story and our old negative emotions. So the first component is an emotional component, to release any negative emotions and mature your compassionate presence so that you will have the mastery to get it done. The next component for lasting change is a practical, physical one, the skill transference of how to create unique, sustainable systems that work for you and make the process easy, efficient, effective, and even sensual. Next up is the mental component of understanding and learning how to work with and support your unique retrieval strategy, which we'll talk more about in just a moment. The fourth component of lasting change is a spiritual component, to be able to access and receive unseen support from nature, from the intelligence or spirit of your home, from the divine, and from the seen world as well, meaning your family members, your friends, and anyone you might share your home with. And then we tie it all together, and I teach how to set up your home, especially your bedroom and workspace, with you as the locus of control, so you feel in command of your life. The processes in the Mess to Success home study program activate both the practical, linear left hemisphere of the brain and the holistic, creative, connected right hemisphere of the brain in order to create an inner vision for the amazing life you choose to enjoy, and a customized plan that will allow your home to function like a partner in creating that success. In addition to the audios of each class, you will also receive an extensive workbook with links to resources you might need as you release the clutter and organize your home. Now, I know that some of you may feel like you just want to follow the outline that I'm offering in this clean sweep training and do it yourself. And if that's you, I honor you for making that clear decision and send you many blessings for your success. If you're undecided, if you need more support, I'd like to share with you what I see as the biggest challenge to doing this foundational work without support. For most of us, our lives are busy with business and family demands. Our decluttering and organizing work is important, but usually not urgent. And it's way too easy for this vital work to fall to the bottom of the priority list and go undone until it assumes crisis proportions, impeding your ability to function well. The second challenge is that you don't know what you don't know. We're all skilled in our own area of expertise. And if knowing the easiest and fastest ways to declutter, organize, and feng shui your home are not in your skill set, you might want to avail yourself of the expertise of someone who excels at that. The third challenge for most people is that this is a significant journey to undertake. This intention of releasing all the clutter and reorganizing your home. I break that down into manageable steps in a way that makes it feel totally doable. It's not just one ginormous journey with no clear path to move through it. I know it can feel that way, but with support, it's not. The fourth challenge is that as you are clearing your stuff, your own emotional stuff comes up to clear. I promise you that as you clear the old items out of your home, resistance, doubt, fear, and discomfort will arise. This is perfectly normal. After all, you're transforming your environment. You're tossing out all the old ego props. Stuff surfaces when you're letting go. When you have a strong container of support, you keep going with it. But if you're on your own, it's harder to stick with the process when it turns choppy. So those are some of the challenges and stumbling blocks. And if you do decide you want support, I offer my Mess to Success home study program and private follow-up sessions with me. Graduates of the program have made amazing progress, some of them after years of feeling stuck and blocked by clutter. What do my clients do with all their time and energy after their decluttering and organizing is complete? All of them report that they play more with their family, their friends, and the animals they love. They spend more time in nature. They enjoy the relationship of their dreams, achieve their fitness goals, and my most favorite, many of them have started their own businesses. I have worked with so many men and women who have gotten this big project done and turned their attention to creating a business in which they are giving their legacy work into the world. Can you feel why I love this work? Every time a client calls or emails to share the news about their improved health or relationship or their new business, I remind them of the day as we cleared their cluttered closet or office when their current reality was only a dimly imagined intention. I remind them of the work it took to release all the trappings of their old life so they could create this new one. Okay, now I'm going to share secret number 5. Discover your unique retrieval strategy and create sustainable systems that align with it. My training has taught me that we each process information differently. And working with so many clients over the years has taught me that just like we learn differently, we each retrieve memory differently. Back in the early 80s, as my middle son with dyslexia was struggling to learn to read, I was taking a neuro-linguistic programming training for work. I learned there that we each have 3 main channels that we learn on. We're either visual learners, or we're auditory learners, or we're kinesthetic learners. We learn by doing. Well, I was visual. I learned best by reading. Some of us are auditory. We learn best by listening. And some of us, like my son, are kinesthetic learners who learn best when their body is moving. The alphabet was hieroglyphics to him until I made sandpaper letters that he could trace with his finger. Those of us who are kinesthetic are not going to learn well unless we are physically active. As I applied what I had learned in my NLP training to my work with clients, I began to realize that just as we have a learning strategy, we also have what I have come to call a unique retrieval strategy. If I try to remember where I put something, I see it in my mind's eye. But many of my clients have non-visual retrieval strategies, and they need completely different cues to remember where they've put something. If they put items in a file drawer or behind a cabinet door, it's like throwing the information into a black hole. They're never going to remember it later. Maybe you've experienced this frustration. I realized with a sinking feeling that up to this point, I had been working with clients trying to help them create systems in ways that aligned with my unique retrieval strategy, but not theirs. I began asking questions about how my clients remembered things, especially how they remembered where they put items they'd stored. Because of my work to help my son learn and remember, I realized I had out-of-the-norm methods and creative ways of helping each client organize in ways that aligned with his or her unique retrieval strategy. I also realized that one of the most valuable skills I could teach a client is to know how to organize their home and workspace in a way that works for them. I developed a unique retrieval strategy assessment that helps clients identify the strategy with which their brain retrieves information most easily: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, or a combination of two of the three. Once you know that, you need to learn how to create what I call sustainable systems. I define sustainable systems as systems that are set up to, number one, be easily maintained, number two, grow and evolve as your life does, and number three, align with your own unique retrieval strategy. Unfortunately, creating sustainable systems is not a skill taught in school. Even though I was born with an innate skill for organizing, creating systems is something I had to learn. And creating sustainable systems is something I've developed in the last 15 years. The good news is it's easy once you learn how. Note, it's not your fault if you have been trying to create order in your space and your life and you're still struggling with clutter. Many of my clients have struggled for decades. Here's why. There's lots of great books and programs on decluttering out there. The thing is, many of them leave out the most important skill sets: knowing how your brain retrieves information and knowing how to create sustainable systems that work for you. So if you have tried in the past to follow someone else's system and ended up putting time, energy, and maybe money into it, but without results, it may be because you need to really learn how to create systems that work for you, which is kind of what my home study program goes into. I would love to work with you in the Nest to Success program and the follow-up private sessions, if that works for you. And remember, as you do your clean sweep, as you move from room to room, as you sort your possessions, whether you start with your medicine cabinet or your master closet, your goal is not to create someone else's ideal of the perfect home, the perfect system. Your goal is to create a home that functions as a success partner for you. Your goal will be easier to accomplish if you remember the spaces you live and work in are alive and they want to partner with you. You are in a relationship with your home, so release the judgments. Start where you are and keep your attention on where you want to go. Determine if professional support would save you time and money, and learn your unique retrieval strategy and how to create sustainable systems that align with it. Now, our training, our time together is complete for now, but I hope you can feel the blessings and love flowing from my heart and home to yours. Goodbye for now.